Welcome to a new show. It's called Blockchain. My name's Nson, and I'm your host. The premise of the show is really to talk about innovation happening within the blockchain space, with real estate in particular. For the first episode, though, I have a special guest. It's my dear friend Nson. He runs a company called Reddit NYC. They put together some of the top real estate networking events in the country, average about 800 attendees. The reason I'm having him on the show is because we're partnering to bring you guys Innovate CRE, which is our conference on September 12th, that really focuses on innovation within the tech space, and blockchain is a big topic of conversation. And before we get into talking about blockchain, I first want to welcome Selman to the show. Welcome to the show.
Very nice.
So tell our audience a little bit about Reddit NYC.
Reddit NYC, we had a series of networking events we do in New York, Chicago, LA, and Miami. It's RED stands for Real Estate Development, and we plan to expand to 4 more cities with the same format. Our format is we have a keynote speaker. We typically bring one of the top real estate developers or owners in that market, and talk for 15-20 minutes about their projects, about the overall real estate market, and rest of the night is just pure networking event where people meet each other and potentially do some business together.
How did you come up with the concept?
So the concept, how I came up with was I was in construction field. I was doing business development, and it was my job was to bring business. And I was hosting small events with my clients, prospective clients, and we had 10 people, then became 20, 30, 50, and we just said, why don't we get a bigger venue and do a bigger event? And then we had 300, 400, and realized that we could charge people to come. And we had a couple of sponsors that sponsor our events, and we just started charging people, and it just worked out fine. And we got the best, I would say, the trendiest, best venues.
Like PhD, you do a lot of events there?
Yeah, we do most of our events in rooftops and nightclubs.
And when did you decide to start going to different cities?
So with conference organizers.
Okay.
So it's a good way to work with conferences where they could, the audience will go to the conference and they could go to an event at night.
Okay.
And it's just an extra value for conferences to work with us. So we team up with other conferences and also local influencers, small networking event organizers. We just come up with our team and say, well, we do it together. And we always partner with others.
Which is it's a great segue to the fact that you and I are working on Innovate CRE, which is on September 12th here in New York. If you don't already have a ticket, you should totally get it. It's at the Microsoft Tech Center, 11 Times Square. And the focus of the conference, it's on innovation in the built world. So it's real about real estate and technology. So why did you decide to partner with us on this specific conference?
It's really a good topic. A lot of my audience asking me about real estate and tech, real estate and cryptocurrency and all of that. So I figured that it's a really good, for us, it's a really good opportunity to expand in that field and team up with somebody like yourself is very unique, and nobody does it.
I appreciate it.
And we just schedule our event the same day.
Which is
and
great.
Hopefully the people that comes to our conference could do networking at night and have a good time.
Absolutely. It's both. They'll come to the conference during the day and then at night head to the Reddit NYC.
The outside, from people that lives in outside, like Jersey or Connecticut or Boston, that will come to the city, attend the event during the day. You have the full day and night.
Absolutely, right? So it's a good reason to be in the city, whether you live in the city or not.
Yeah.
Definitely. So my, like I said at the beginning of the focus, what I really want to do is have a conversation with people who are building blockchain companies. And for a lot of people, it's a very foreign topic, right? Which even for me, I'm still learning a lot. But the reason I want to have it is because I want to have people on the show who are either building companies or interested in the space. And particularly when it comes to the real estate industry, there's huge conversations around the potential and how it can impact it. From the people who come to your events, the conversations that you've had, is this something that comes up a lot? What do you kind of
It's,
hear?
yes, yeah, I hear a lot. I mean, our events are all about networking. We network and talk about various ways of doing business. And technology is the key. I mean, how you could get that deal faster, how you improve your production, how you do things a better way. And when it comes to tech, is the tech that really and
Enables it, right?
enables it, yeah. And especially the cryptocurrency thing, it's just something new that everybody's curious about.
Everybody is.
Yeah.
By the way, did you
Yeah.
did you ever buy any Bitcoin?
No, I haven't. No. But
It's so funny. I actually got into it in January of this year, right?
Yeah.
It wasn't. I was actually going to one of your Reddit NYC events. I was with my friends and we were like chatting back and forth. I think my boys were doing like video photography that night. And I was like, guys, you got to focus. You're supposed to go work. They only wanted to talk about the coins that they bought,
right?
what's happening. I was like, okay.
Yeah.
My friends have never even talked about owning stock, right? Shares of anything, but they're so into this. So I was like, maybe before I'm negative on it, let me do my own research. So I started doing research. I'm like, well, you know what? Maybe I should cover this topic at my conferences. It kind of grew from there. And now I find it very interesting.
That's very interesting. I'm really excited about, especially learning from the speakers, what it's all about and what the potential is.
Definitely.
I'm still like really learning and trying to figure out how it works or how it like really benefit the real estate.
Definitely. And by the way, the keynote, Tim Draper, right? He's a big venture capitalist. He's one of the first venture capitalists to really get behind it, right? He bought all these Bitcoins in an auction from the U.S. government. They had seized this site that was involved in some dark web activities, but they had all this Bitcoin. They seized it, and then they auctioned, and he bought it. And apparently he bought it for about $19 million. At some point, it was worth like $250 million.
Wow.
So he's always been bullish on it. And I remember, because there's always been this conversation about whether Bitcoin or cryptocurrency is legitimate, right? And then somebody made a good argument that the U.S. government recognizes it as something of value because they seized it and they sold it to somebody else, right? So it means automatically the government does recognize that it's something of value, right?
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly,
So the big thing is, for example, are people going to buy and sell properties using Bitcoin? I know like in Dubai, there's a whole development where the developer is accepting Bitcoin. Now, some developers, they would accept Bitcoin and then they just convert it to dollars. Right, which is one way to look at it, but I think the whole thing is very fascinating. So obviously we have Tim Draper, we have Lou Kerner. He runs a company called Crypto Oracle, who's speaking as well. We have this young guy named Eric Finman. He's like 19.
Yes, I heard
right?
about him.
And he started investing at like 12, right?
Wow.
And he's 19. He's made like over $1 million from his Bitcoin that he bought. So it's just. I'm definitely looking forward to all the speakers to really talk about it. We obviously have different topics that we're covering as well at the conference. We have augmented reality, which is a big topic. We have panels on capital raising. We have some pitch sessions, so it should be exciting.
Yeah.
Definitely. And by the way, in the evening, you do have a keynote at the event.
Yeah, we have a keynote speaker, David Schwartz from Slate Property Group. He's one of the most active developer in Brooklyn. In Queens, so he will be our keynote speaker. We'll talk about his projects and overall real estate market in New York City.
Brooklyn and Queens are very active markets.
Yes,
By the way, does he do office or is it multifamily? Or
multifamily and condos. Like multifamily is his
bread and butter. Yeah, I mean Brooklyn it's for the past few years it's like the place. I was at this event the other night and there was a guy, an architect for a hotel in Brooklyn, and he was saying that the average daily rate, like the room rate, is equivalent to like the Four Seasons.
Yes.
Right?
Sure, yeah.
Because people just want to be there, and you're like, you know. So, anyways, I'm definitely excited about our collaboration. We have other partners as well that are involved, including our friend Karen and Harry from CollabNet and Ellipsis. And it's super exciting. So, Selman, thank you for coming on the first show.
Yeah.
Right? And it should be fun.
Yeah, it should be fun. Yeah, we're expecting a large crowd.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
All right. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
With that, that's the first episode of Blockchain, my new show focused on everything happening within the blockchain space. Until next time.